Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my top 5 best and worst purchases of my 20s so far. As of yesterday, I'm 23 years old, so I know I'm on the younger side of this demographic, but I asked you guys on Instagram if you would want to see this, and basically all of you said yes, so here we are. Quickly, if you're new here, my name is Amy Rauch. I'm 23 years old and I am a full-time graphic designer here in DC. I make videos about my everyday life, from business professional outfit inspo to coffee runs, Trader Joe's hauls, and pretty much everything in between. So if you all want to stick around and subscribe, the button's right down there. I would really appreciate it. So jumping right in to the best purchases that I've made so far in my 20s, I ordered these from most expensive to least expensive. The first most expensive purchase being anything travel related. If you guys have been subscribed for a while, you might remember that I studied abroad in college. I did a semester in London and then like a month program in Vietnam. Both of those experiences were just so incredibly important to me in terms of like shaping my perspective and my future career path, you know, like the way I approach everyday life. And I know it's so annoying and cliche because everybody comes back from abroad like, abroad changed me, but it really did kind of reshape the way that I approached my everyday life. Those trips also really motivated me to save my money for experiences and not things. I feel like a broken record, but I am so grateful for all of the travel experiences that I've been able to have in, you know, my 23 years of life so far. So that would definitely be the best thing that I've spent money on in my 20s. My next best purchase is kind of cheating, and it is the camera that I'm filming on. I believe I bought this when I turned like 16 or 17, somewhere in that age range. I'm currently filming on a Canon Rebel T5i, and when I bought this camera it was a little bit over $1,000 I think, and I just remember working so many hours at like my hourly job in high school to save up and pay for this camera, and it was so scary to spend that much money on it because at the time I had never dropped money like that in my life. Having good camera quality is really important if you're making YouTube videos, especially when you're partnering with brands or selling your footage for others to use. Even though the body of the camera is starting to get outdated, I can swap out the lenses at any time, and it's something that I know that I can continue to use even if I don't necessarily continue with YouTube in the future. I can use this for freelance work or really any creative projects. So this camera was easily one of the best purchases I've made in my 20s. The third best purchase I've made in my 20s was a recent purchase, and that was paying for a business advisor and someone to do my taxes. I've struggled with taxes and self-employment for as long as I can remember, and I've been super lucky lately on YouTube and had a couple of really successful months, and I just got super overwhelmed, especially with tax season, with all of the different forms coming in from various states and kind of handling everything from a legal perspective in terms of LLCs and filing and, you know, mailboxes and all of that kind of stuff. And finally seeking outside help was so helpful for me. Between the business advising, tax appointments, and legal consulting I've gotten, I've spent a little bit under $1,000. I think that'll surpass the camera in the next couple of months, but having a small team on my side, just making sure that I'm doing everything correct and just getting second opinions on things from people who actually know what they're doing versus just kind of shooting in the dark like I've been the last couple of years, has been so beneficial to me, and I'm so glad that I finally invested in help. The fourth best item I've purchased in my 20s is my MADEWELL transport tote. I bought this my freshman year of college, so I guess I wasn't even 20 actually, I must have been 18. Regardless, we're still going to count it. This is the perfect tote bag for my lifestyle. It fits my laptops easily. It worked perfectly in college for me. It works for work now. I use it when I go on planes. I just cannot imagine my life without this bag, and it's not that expensive either considering how often I've used it. I believe this bag retails new for a little bit under $200. I actually got mine off of Poshmark, so I want to say I paid around $110 for it, but I know the minute that this bag finally gives out, I will be 100% repurchasing a new one. I think the bag has held up pretty well too, considering how much wear and tear I've put on this thing, and even when it gets scuffed up or scratched, it kind of adds to the look versus looking like an old raggedy bag that you need to get rid of, if that makes sense. So this has been honestly an essential in my life for the last 5 years now, I guess. And then the fifth best purchase I'm going to be sharing today is my Spotify premium subscription. And this is easily the cheapest. I paid the $4.99 student subscription cost all throughout college, and then recently moved over to the $10 subscription for like regular users of the platform, I guess. Spotify is something that I use every single day when I'm getting ready, when I'm walking to work, riding the bus normally, just doing work at work. I feel very strongly on Team Spotify over Apple Music. I think the playlists that Spotify creates are unmatched. The end of year wrap, incredible. The podcast selection, A1. The platform makes it so easy to discover new music, and I love following my friends and seeing their playlists and all that good stuff. So if you guys have any good music, leave your Spotify down below. I'll leave mine down below. We can have like a nice little jam party, if you will. Moving on to the top 5 worst purchases I've made in my 20s. The first one is hands down Ubers. The amount of money that I spend on like Ubers, Lyfts, stuff like that is absolutely disgusting. I don't have my car with me in DC, so I really rely on public transit for getting to and from anywhere that I'm going. I take the bus or walk every day to work. I'm decent about using the metro if I'm going somewhere far, but if I'm going to a friend's house to pregame or it's at night, there is a very, very good chance that I'm Ubering or taking a Lyft when I don't necessarily have to, but sometimes it's just more efficient, and it's honestly not that much more expensive, but even like $4 or $5 more adds up so fast. So that is a habit that I am trying to get better at in 2020. The quarantine has made it super easy not to Uber because there's nowhere to go and it's unsafe. So number 1 worst purchase of my 20s so far is for sure Ubers. The second worst purchase of my 20s so far is coffee outside of my apartment, and this is something that I don't regret and I stand by, but I can objectively understand that it is an unnecessary expense and adds a lot to my monthly expenses that could be pretty easily substituted for something else. Honestly, I'm not even really making an effort to fix this. I feel like everybody has a vice, whether that's like buying a bunch of clothing or apartment decor, cars, you know, whatever that may be, and mine happens to be coffee, so I'm aware of it. Will I improve in 2020? Most likely not, but I'm at least aware of the fact that that is by far one of the worst purchases in terms of like ROI or literally anything of my 20s so far. My third worst purchase of my 20s is my GoPro. I honestly can't remember when I purchased this, but it's something that I've used maybe 2 or 3 times, and for the amount that I spent on the camera, I definitely don't get enough use out of it. It was a purchase that I really thought I would use a lot. I'd go on all these adventures and I'd have something to document it, and it'd be this really great thing. The GoPro Instagram account is dope and probably influenced me a bit too, but in a realistic day-to-day reality, I just really don't use it, and honestly, it's such an old model, I don't think I could even sell it at this point. So in the grand scheme of things, if a couple $100s on a camera is one of the worst financial mistakes I've made in my 20s, I'm okay with that, I guess, but I do wish that I had considered it a little bit more before purchasing, and maybe considered renting equipment if I knew that I'd be needing it for a vacation or something along those lines. The fourth worst purchase in my 20s has been clothing with no occasion to wear them. I feel like I have a ton of really cute jumpsuits and dresses that are a little bit more formal than I would really need on a day-to-day basis, or even like a month-to-month basis. I can't remember the last time I went to an event and actually dressed up for it. I do get a lot of wear out of my nicer business professional clothing, but as far as like more formal dresses and rompers, I have like 3 or 4 sitting in my closet that I absolutely love, but haven't had an occasion to wear them for, and don't have an occasion to wear them for. So my new rule for 2020, especially as I continue to implement minimalism in my life, is not purchasing things if I don't have an occasion for them, or it's not something that I would wear over and over again. So in the future, I'm going to cut back on more formal attire, and then if I do have an event, I can look into renting something, which honestly is more practical anyway. You can get something a lot nicer for a better deal, and I know for me at least, I don't typically rewear things that are for super formal events like that, so that is something that I could very much so cut back on in my later 20s. And then the last worst purchase of my 20s so far isn't really a purchase, but I don't really know how else to categorize it, and that is managers and MCNs for my YouTube channel. Typically MCNs or managers take a cut of your revenue in exchange for either giving you brand deals, helping promote your channel, introducing you to other people. Like, there's normally a benefit to being signed with someone, and I feel like my channel just got really passed around and kind of fucked over left and right when it came to management companies. From the time that I started making videos up until like a year ago, I was getting very small payments on this channel because my networks were taking such a large percentage of my revenue without any benefit to me. So even though it wasn't necessarily a direct purchase that I made in my 20s, I feel like I lost a lot of money from being signed with someone. And since I've been self-managed and kind of an independent creator, not signed to a network, my channel has done so much better. So I'm glad that I made the switch, but I wish that I had the ability to do it earlier, if that makes sense. Those are the top 5 and worst 5 purchases of my 20s so far. I know that they weren't anything absolutely crazy and out there, but hopefully you guys enjoyed still. If you guys want to see a part 2 to this video, or you want a video on how I budget money or anything like that, feel free to leave a comment down below with any suggestions. Thank you guys so much for your support and watching up per usual. And with all that being said, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.